Very good. So are you refreshed? Yes? So you're ready to do some meditation? Are you ready to get to Nibbana? Wow, wonderful. Oh, that was almost enthusiastic. So I mentioned before that I wanted to introduce a meditation theme to you. And so I'm going to do a little bit of talking, and then we're going to do a guided meditation. And then we have like a full hour to meditate, which is great. So a little bit of an introduction. Theory and practice should go together. And so I said that we're going to be exploring this theme, Upasamanussati. Have you ever heard of this before? No? So it's not often taught, actually, but it is. When you listen to good teachers, this is what they teach. They teach this recollection of peace, of stilling. And this is regarded as a synonym for Nibbana. So Upasamanussati, this recollection of stilling, is a synonym for the qualities of Nibbana. So the Anussatis are a collection of 6 or 10 themes talked about by the Buddha. Are you familiar with the Anussatis? The answer is yes. We just did 3 of them this morning. We did the Buddha-nussati, the recollection of the Buddha, the Dhamma-nussati, the recollection of the Dhamma, and recollection of the Sangha, Sangha-anussati. That's the first 3. Then we have Sila-nussati, recollection of your ethical conduct. Chaga-nussati, recollection of your generosity. Deva-nussati, recollection of the qualities of the Devas. And then there's a few other things like recollection of death, recollection of the breath, and then the one that we're doing today, recollection of the qualities of Nibbana, or recollection of stilling. All of these anussatis are ways that we recollect a particular theme and we ponder. So sometimes with meditation we have this idea meditation has to be completely silent, we're not allowed to think. If you think, you're a bad meditator, and then you probably just sit there with those thoughts happening to you the entire time, right? So the anussatis are actually a really interesting area for us to explore as meditators. I love them because it allows the mind to exhaust itself through thinking by pondering the Dhamma in a really healthy, positive way. So often when we're thinking in meditation, it becomes a problem because we're starting to think about all sorts of things, right? Outside in the world, we're planning, we're worrying, we're going back into the past. So this is not very useful kind of thinking. But thinking is useful, and it is useful in parts of our meditation practice as well. And one of the things that I'm always surprised is that the fact that the Buddha actually encouraged thinking and pondering. He wanted us to investigate the Dhamma. And so we can do this, of course, outside of our meditation practice, but we can also do it within as part of our meditation practice. And if you look at the flow of most of our Buddhist occasions, you'll see that the anussatis are placed at the front. We do these anussatis, but they've become very ritualized. We just do them to get them out of the way, right? Quick, got to do the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, anussatis, get them out of the way, then we move on to the proper things, But actually, when you pay attention to these words that you're chanting, you're not just making noises. You're actually meant to be thinking about these things. They're placed at the front, at the beginning of our ceremonies, of our activities, to inspire you, to help you develop in the Dhamma, to show you what qualities we need to encourage. So Anussatis are very powerful. All of the Anussatis have formulas that are given, like stock standard phrases. For example, we know the Buddha Nussati, right? Iti piso, bhagava, and it's always the same wherever we see it. Same with something like the Chaga Anussati, the recollection of generosity. How wonderful, this is how it goes, how wonderful it is for me to be free of the stain of miserliness. The recollection of spiritual friendship is something like, how wonderful it is that I have such people in my life who can guide me and admonish me out of compassion. So when you see these from time to time when you're looking through the suttas and you're like, oh, there's that line again, or there's that concept. And so in the same way, for the Upasamanussati, there's a very particular phrasing to it. And we find this phrasing scattered throughout the suttas. We don't actually find a lot of information from the Buddha about how to practice this, but it comes up from time to time in several suttas. And the later commentator, Buddhaghosa, actually went into more detail about how we can practice it. And so that's where we get a lot of our information about this practice. But we do find this recollection within the suttas, maybe not explicitly identified as such, but embedded within the sutta itself. And so I'll just go through the few sentences that describe this practice, and then we're going to do some guided meditation, and I'm going to look at the way to practice it in a particular way, and later on I'm going to try some different ways to practice it with you. The idea, of course, is that we're trying to get familiar with the qualities of enlightenment, and they're described in the passage. And so it says, this is peaceful. This is sublime. The stilling of activities. The letting go of attachments. The ending of craving. Fading away. Cessation. Extinguishment. That is Nibbana. So these are the qualities of Nibbana. This is peaceful. This is sublime. That is the stilling of all activities. That's sankharas, asankhara, the stopping of activities. Can you imagine why stopping mental activities would be peaceful and sublime? Isn't it the case that when we come to sit meditation, we just see the mind just going round and round and round and round and round and round. And then that's when we say, oh, I didn't have a good meditation, I had a bad meditation, my mind was just thinking, there's so much activity in my mind. And then when we say, oh, I had a really good meditation, what's happened is that activity of the mind has slowed down, has become less frequent, and perhaps has become still. Have any of you experienced that beautiful stillness in your meditation? It's so clear and almost, I'd say it's delicious. You know, this kind of wonderful stillness. There's no movement in the mind. It's stable and steady. So this is what can happen. The Buddha gave a beautiful simile to help us understand the stilling of the mind, the stilling of the sankharas. He said it's like a person who was walking quickly. They're walking fast and then they say, why am I walking fast? Why don't I slow down? So they slow down. Why am I walking slowly? Why don't I stop? And so they stop. Why am I standing? Why don't I sit? So they sit. Why am I sitting? Why don't I lie down? And so you see there's a successively more comfortable posture that is taken up. They're walking fast. And then they realize, why am I walking fast? Why don't I just walk slowly? A little bit more peace, a little bit more stilling coming, and then standing still, and then sitting down and lying down. In the same way, perhaps you've seen this sequence in your own mind. The mind, when you first come to sit, is racing. Yeah, you've been so busy in the world. It's natural, it's normal that the mind is going to be thinking a lot. And then you sit for a bit, you notice actually there's been a reduction in your thinking. There's been an increase in the stillness. And after a few hours or a few days or a few weeks of retreat, you look at the mind and you see actually the mind is much more still, much more peaceful. So this is how it works. The purification of our mind is in part the stilling of activities. And so a good meditator learns how to work with this mind. Good meditator learns how to allow the mind to stop thinking. And so it happens naturally, but you still need to edge the mind towards that stillness, towards that peace. You can't just sit there and do nothing, because if you do that, the mind will just revert to its habitual tendencies and be led by the defilements. So there's all sorts of strategies which we don't have time to go into now to help that peace, to help that stillness. But if you've experienced it, you'll never forget it. And you've seen that it's possible for the mind to become quiet and still. And of course, Nibbana is the ultimate stilling. We might just glimpse a little bit of it, maybe even a second, yeah? Before we go, the mind's still. And we pop that bubble. So that's the stilling of mental activities, the sankharas. And then the next line, the letting go of all attachments. So this is one thing also that we notice in our meditation, right? Our attachments are what take us away from peace. Oh, the cricket's on. Maybe I should watch the cricket. Oh, if only I had another piece of chocolate cake. Oh, I wonder what my daughter is doing. Oh, I have to do this thing. There's all these attachments. We can understand it on that level, of course. When the Buddha says that he gave up all attachments, he's talking about things like self. He's talking about things like all the defilements. These are the kind of things that we let go of along the path. And the Buddha, he let go in the most profound way. We can experience letting go in small ways, medium ways, perhaps big ways too. And this practice of letting go, this is a really important part of training our mind. This is what we need to do in our meditation practice. We actually need to practice to let go, not to hold on, not to reach out and grab on to more things. We need to practice letting go. And this is how, over time, we see that it's possible to let go of things, like this concept of me, of mine. And so this is what the Buddha talks about when he says he lets go of all attachments. And he says it's the ending of craving. The ending of craving. Not wanting anything. Can you imagine not wanting anything? Wanting something is very frequently the first thing that happens when you sit down on the mat, right? You're like, actually, maybe I'll just go and do that thing. Actually, I'll just have a cup of tea first. And already your meditation's gone, right? Or wanting the bliss that you've heard about. Sitting there, wanting, craving. Craving for sensual pleasures, craving for future existence, craving not to be. So the Buddha, as an enlightened being, has ended all craving. So for us, that's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine getting through a meditation session without a little bit of craving. But perhaps some of you have experienced a few moments, maybe a few minutes, maybe even an entire meditation practice where you haven't wanted anything, where you've been so content and the mind is just happy to be exactly where it is. And this is such a sweet state. The mind doesn't want to go anywhere. Just so happy to be there, not wanting anything. And just as there's a real pull with craving, there's a real depth to contentment. And of course, that small bit of contentment and peace and stillness that comes when we experience a few moments of not craving. When the Buddha talks about ending craving, he's talking about a much more profound experience. It's the ending of future rebirths and being stuck in the realm of samsara. Which is why those next few words in that sequence, that little passage, are fading away. Fading away, viraga, fading away, dispassion, not wanting anything, not being so foolish as to keep going back, no longer inflamed by passion, becoming cool. And the next word, nirodha, cessation. Stopping. Can you imagine stopping? That bliss that comes from non-activity. We get a sense of it in our meditation practice when we pause our life for a little bit, right? We get a sense of how wonderful it is to do nothing, how wonderful it is to pause. Imagine how wonderful it would be to stop. And the last word, NIbbana, extinguishment, going out. These are the qualities of NIbbana. So we're going to explore these qualities in this practice of Upasamanussati today. And this is our main practice for the 2 days that we're together. But as I said, I'll explain it in a few different ways. And so for this first session, I want us to get conviction of some of these qualities. That it's possible to let go. That it's possible to have peace and stillness. That it's possible for us to see endings of things. So this is really important. that we witness in our own minds that things end. And even more important is that we understand how they end. How do they end, these things? By letting go. So that's what we're going to practice for the next 45 minutes or so. I'm going to guide just the first part of the meditation, and then we can sit in silence. And so let's take a comfortable posture. If you're not comfortable on the floor, there are some chairs free. So please be comfortable. And so you can take a few moments to set up your posture. We're going to be here for a while, so make yourself feel good in whatever posture works for you. So you can close your eyes. We begin by letting go. Letting go of the morning, of all our activity. Letting go of the week that's been. Letting go of everything that has come before. That is, letting go of the past. The past has gone. There's nothing we can do about the past. And so when the mind reaches out to the past, there's no need to get involved. Instead of reaching out, we let go. We don't hold on to the past. In the same way, we don't reach out towards the future, not planning, not worrying, thinking of what's to come. The future is uncertain. There's no need for us to worry about it now. So we let go of the future. Just let it be. By letting go of the past, letting go of the future, we can be here now, not moving to the past, not moving to the future. Instead of moving, we can be still. This stillness is peaceful. And in the same way that we let go of the past and future, we can let go of tightness and tension in this body. So allow yourself to feel good by relaxing this body right here, right now. Find some peace in this body by relaxing. Relaxing is letting go of stress, of tightness, letting go of suffering, bodily suffering. So allow yourself to relax your face, releasing any tension in the brows. Allow your eyes to be soft, your face relaxed. Unclench your jaw. Allow the neck to relax, the shoulders to release. Allow it to feel good as you let go of tightness in the upper arms, shoulders. Letting go of bones in the arms. Releasing muscles and joints. Forearms relaxed. Hands comfortable. Any tightness or tension draining away through the fingers. And coming to the back of the body, relaxing and releasing all the muscles, bones of the upper back. letting go of tightness, tension, softening the muscles, the middle back, relaxing the spine, moving down, relaxing and softening the lower back. It feels good to relax. It feels good to be comfortable. And now the front of the body, relaxing, releasing, collarbones, softening, all the muscles, bones of the chest, releasing any tension, even the lungs, even the heart. And softening down through the abdomen, so much tension, releasing deep inside. Watching the rising and falling, each breath coming in, each breath going out, relaxing. Relaxing down through the hips, letting go of tightness in the buttocks, drawing that relaxation down the legs, softening the knees, releasing down through the calves, shins, allowing the feet to become soft, relaxed. Any tightness or tension draining away through the toes. It feels good to pause. It feels good to relax. It feels good to let go. Before, this body was tense and tight. By letting go, this body is relaxed and at ease. There is some peace in this body. And in the same way we relaxed the body, we can also relax the mind to find some peace in the mind. We're not craving for things when we're peaceful. We're not reaching out. We're letting go. We're not busy. We're becoming still. The mind naturally inclines towards peace. All we have to do is let go, wanting only to be here now, to be aware. So when the body is relaxed and the mind is calm, there is peace. There is stillness. We see the ending of activities. We understand how by letting go we reduce our craving. We see truth, the possibility of cessation, of freedom. And so for the next half an hour, practicing in this way, relaxing, releasing, allowing the mind to become calm. Perhaps watching the breath coming in, going out, or just being aware, just sitting. See if you can experience the stillness and peace of Nibbana right here, right now.